Hi. That kind of just made me think of The Dark Knight, where the Joker is dressed up like a nurse in the hospital going to visit Harvey Dent, whose face is now half burned off before he becomes Two-Face, and he just pulls down the mask, knowing Harvey would be upset to see him because he just killed his girlfriend, and he goes, "Hi." That really has nothing to do with anything that we're going to talk about today, but that's just how my introduction felt. Because it's been a while. It's been a while since I made a video, since I spoke to anybody here. If you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. Usually reserve that part for the end of the video. But if you're new here, check me out. Talking sports almost all the time. I guess I wasn't ready to talk about it after the Bills lost to the Bengals, which is, almost 8 months ago. So I could have made a video then. I could have made a video before the draft, after the draft, before training camp. I could have. I apologize. Was it done intentionally? Yeah, kind of. Like I said, I wasn't really ready to talk about it. And you may have noticed that my setting has changed. I haven't moved or anything. I'm just in a different room because over the summer I got a puppy and I can't sit in my spare room without him sniffing around on everything and chewing on things that he shouldn't be while making the video. I can do that from my living room. So style points are a 0. I understand that. No style points for Greg. Sorry about that. Sorry about the delay in the video, but let's not waste any more time. I don't think I'm going to waste any time, in fact, really talking about the Bengals game. Maybe a little, but I don't want to dwell on that. It's been about 8 months now, and that game felt like it was over in about 5 or 6 minutes. I mean, it was 14-0 in no time at all, and you have faith in the Bills offense. You have faith in Josh Allen. But it felt over. It felt like, hey, the only way they're going to win this game is if they score like 38 points, and they have shown no signs of moving the football. They're down 14 already. They can't stop Joe Burrow. They can't stop Joe Mixon. Like, this could be it. Like, there's like 9 minutes left in the first quarter, and you're like, holy smokes, this could be it. And it was. It was. The Bills scored only 10 points the entire game. Completely unacceptable performance. They'll tell you that. It's really not anything new. Nothing, no hot take from me to say it's an unacceptable performance, especially in the playoffs. The way the Bills have gone out in the playoffs the last 3 years really does suck. They got killed in the AFC Championship game by Kansas City. They had the 13 seconds game against Kansas City the following year. And then just a total no-show against the Bengals. I don't want to give, I guess this sounds insensitive maybe in a way, but a lot of them were saying, well, we just kind of ran out of gas. There was a lot going on in our lives with everything that happened in the city of Buffalo and, the hurdles that we had to jump through the season with, snowstorms and the Damar Hamlin situation and stuff. We ran out of gas. You can't get up for a playoff game, a home playoff game. I mean, you literally have 3 of these things left at most, and you're like, I just don't have anything left to give to this. It just doesn't hold water with me. It really doesn't. So I'm done with that. I'm done with the Bengals game. I really am. The reason I guess I didn't make a video leading up to the draft or after the draft or something is, I don't know, I was sort of just waiting for something to make me feel optimistic again, because I guess I am reverting back here to the Bengals game a little bit. After 13 seconds, I felt like, okay, they're awesome. Like, they just lost. Like, was I ready to talk about it right away with people? No, of course not. But after reflecting back, it was like, oh, they're so sweet. Like, they're such a good team. They just lost in the most absurd fashion ever. When you look back at the Bengals game, it's like, holy smokes, did they just get passed by another team in the AFC? Is this our window becoming tighter, closing a little bit? That has been such a huge topic of discussion. Not only really amongst Bills fans, but amongst the national media as this Bills window is closing. I don't necessarily think so because, I'm going back to the draft, to free agency now. Let's talk about a couple guys that they picked up. They improved on the line. They signed Connor McGovern. They draft Osiris Torrance. They're going to get better guard play, presumably get better guard play. I liked Morse. I liked Dawkins. Spencer Brown's still kind of a to be determined, I suppose. But Josh was very good last year. The Bills were very good last year. They won 7 regular season games in a row to end it after, they were 6-3 after the Minnesota game, correct? So, we were like, oh boy, Josh is hurt. We're 6-3. What's going to happen? They just rattle off 7 straight wins. They win a playoff game against Miami, and then, the Bengals game happens. So I still think they're very good. They're really, like I said, they improved on the offensive line. I like the addition of Deontay Hardy. I love the addition of Dalton Kincaid. There's been a big thing about, don't think of him as a tight end. Think of him as a receiver, a slot receiver, a weapon, or whatever. I don't care what he is. I really don't care. Just get him on the field and throw him the ball. I don't know what my expectations for him are. I will tell you that watching him in some of the preseason games, I was licking my chops a little bit because, the guy to jump to here is Travis Kelce. Like, you want to see that type of player. And it was Kelce-esque, Mark Andrews-esque, maybe. I mean, he was lining up in the slot, beating the guy in front of him on, slants, working the spacing very well. That had me super optimistic. I love the nickname of him and Dawson Knox, the DK Bros. That's awesome. I hope that sticks. So, better line, better weapons, presumably. Again, they're young. You don't know how long it's going to take for them to acclimate to the game necessarily. I think you're getting a better weapon with James Cook by featuring James Cook. You're a better red zone team, hopefully, by featuring Damian Harris and Latavius Murray in the red zone. Because the Bills were dead last in red zone. I don't know if it was red zone percentage or red zone success. I saw Warren Sharp tweet a big long thing about how, expected points or something like that in the red zone. The Bills were dead last. So, cool it with the turnovers. Just turn around when you get to the 3-yard line. Hey, by the way, there's the puppy. There he is. That's Louis. That's him right there. Makes his first appearance on the video blog, the vlog. Anyway, definitely expecting the Bills to be better in the red zone. You can't be worse. How can you be worse than worst? So, ideally that leads to more points for a team that was 14-3, including the first playoff game before they, laid the proverbial egg against the Bengals. On defense, they bring back a lot of the same. The biggest loss on the whole team really is Tremaine Edmunds. I think that's the only real significant loss. And I'm wondering who's going to replace him. Looks like Terrell Bernard's going to get the first crack at it. I get that. You want to find out what you have in Terrell Bernard sooner than later. You kind of know what you have already in Tyrell Dodson. He's had some spot starts here and there. You know that his limitations. Terrell Bernard might be limited in size, but he's really only played significantly in maybe 2 or 3 games. One was against the Jets, coincidentally enough, last year. And I think he took some pretty good criticism in that game, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player. There is, reason to be optimistic about him. I hope you took him in the 3rd round. I hope you can coach this guy up and turn him into a nice player. On the D-line, really like the addition of Poona Ford and Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd might have been their best signing, I thought. Hopefully, while Vaughn is out for the first 4 weeks of the season on the PUP list, Leonard Floyd just hopefully doesn't really make you feel it. It's a really nice rotation that the Bills have, hopefully, with Greg Rousseau hopefully kind of coming into his own there. I feel like I'm saying the word hopefully and ideally a lot. Yeah, I understand, but that's really all you can do until the games start, right? You need to see it happen. But I don't think you're wrong to presume that Greg Rousseau would take a step forward, to presume that Leonard Floyd would still be an effective pass rusher in the NFL, and that you have a nice defensive tackle core with Oliver, and he's extended. He'll be here a little bit longer. And Poona Ford and Jordan Phillips and Daquan Jones. It's nice. They have a nice defensive line rotation. Hopefully they're better against the run, better with pass rush this year because, I mean, you saw how it ended. They weren't touching Joe Burrow. They weren't stopping Joe Mixon. Daquan Jones didn't play. Am I going to put it all on a defensive tackle? Of course not. Might have made a difference here or there. But, they're deep enough, I hope, to where if somebody misses a game here or there, that they're fine. And when Von comes back, hopefully it's just all systems go for that front seven. I understand why Von is not going to play the first 4 weeks of the season. You want him to be healthy in December and January. It's really that simple to me. You don't really need him chasing around Jimmy Garoppolo and Sam Howell and some of the early season opponents for the Bills in September. Would I love to have him for the Jets game? Yes. Would I love to have him for the Dolphins game? Yes. Of course I want him for these divisional matchups. But the most important thing is having him healthy after Thanksgiving. He got hurt on Thanksgiving last year. Definitely dampened the mood there a little bit. And let's be real. Did they need him necessarily playing, chasing Jared Goff around? I know that game came right down to the end. But do you need to play him on a short week to chase Jared Goff, an NFC team? I know that coaches and football people generally don't think like that. We should probably... I should probably reword that. I guess I don't really know the way to say it. Because they're obviously thinking like that now by putting him on PUP because he seems ready to go. I mean, the guy is like a 34-year-old freak of nature. Some guys are just totally built different, and Von Miller seems like he's one of those guys. But, should the Bills even use him on 3-day weeks? For the Thursday night game against Tampa Bay, if he's back and healthy, should they play him to chase Baker Mayfield? No. I think no. But it's not like the NBA with load management and stuff. But I think it's something the Bills should consider, especially if he comes back in week 5 or 6 or what have you and is still super effective. And you're like, oh, this guy hasn't really missed a step. I can't. He's here for that moment, for the Joe Burrow game, to go get Joe Burrow, to go get Patrick Mahomes, like he did in week 6 or whatever it was last year. That's what he's here for, and that's when I need him. I don't need him chasing Baker Mayfield around on a short week. I hope that point makes sense. In the secondary, they returned everybody. It was nice that Jordan Poyer re-signed. That was cool. So Poyer and Hyde are back. Tre'Davious White's there. Kaiir Elam. Don't really know what to make of that situation. Looks like it's great if Christian Benford is good because you used a 6th-round pick on him, but you used 2 picks on Kaiir Elam. You traded, I believe, a 4th to move up or something like that to move up and get him. Same thing with Dalton Kincaid. You traded a 4th to move up 2 or 3 spots and go get him. So these players are costing you 2 picks. This is, not that you're necessarily going to hit on every 4th-round pick, but that's somebody that's going to be on your roster that you don't have on your roster now, so you could have this guy. And now Kaiir Elam is sitting for your 6th-round pick the same year. So I don't want, and that's why I want Dalton Kincaid featured. I don't need him playing like Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions on Thursday night in the opener. 19 snaps. Their offensive coordinator's like, we're going to use him in ways you've never even seen before. And he plays 19 snaps. A lot of games to still use him. I get that. And he looked really good, like a guy who can totally smash when he's given limited touches. Anyway, but still, you want to see them use your 12th overall pick on him, right? Jahmyr Gibbs went 12th overall. Same thing. Same principle. That was great, though, that the Chiefs lost, right? That was pretty cool. So, I'm going to bring up a point that people don't like sometimes. As the season begins, let's touch on the points that Greg likes to hit on. 1, momentum. Not real. Momentum is real. Here's real momentum. This is my phone. It fell with momentum. Okay? A ball rolling down a hill has momentum. A player that's moving with the football has momentum. The game does not have momentum. Okay? That's all I'm going to say with it. It just doesn't. Argue with me if you want. It doesn't. You don't have to start fast to win games. Watch any pregame show ever. Well, they really need to start fast. No, you really don't. You really, really don't. It's nice if you do, but you certainly don't have to. I mean, there's counterpoints to that all the time. I mean, all the time. The Bills-Bengals game certainly flies in the face of me saying you don't have to start fast, because the Bengals started fast, the Bills didn't, the Bengals won. But look at, I don't know, the Chiefs were down at halftime in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are really probably I don't know if they're a bad example because they have one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Remember when they played Houston after the Bills lost to them? Houston was up 24-3. Chiefs didn't have to start fast. They still won that game 51-31. How? They didn't start fast. Momentum. Like, it's stupid. It's all dumb. My third point is luck. And if I can go back to the Chiefs and Lions game really quick, the Lions were lucky to win that game. The Lions were a little bit lucky that Travis Kelce got hurt 2 days before the game and couldn't play. They're lucky that Kadarius Toney can't catch a pass, that he takes a 3-yard drag and turns it into 6 points for you, that, you know, you're up 21-20 and Mahomes throws a dart to him and he can't catch it. It's 4th and 25 and Sky Moore can't come up with, you know, a 25-yard gain or 26-yard gain, whatever it would have been. You just need a guy to make it. Like, is that an easy play? No. But if you get a receiver that makes a tough catch, and they exist all over throughout the league, you might lose that game. The Lions were lucky. They didn't look great by any means. They had a wimpy punt on like 4th and 3 at the 40-yard line. That's wimpy. I don't know how the same guy who's running fake punts at their own 17 or whatever is punting on 4th and 3 from the plus 40. They were lucky. You still have to score the points and take the lead. They did. But they were fortunate in that game. Anyway, it's nice that the Chiefs are 0-1. Let's talk about the Bills and the Jets a little bit. As you might know, the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. There's a little blurb on the news about it. But the Jets, man, like, holy moly. They are like annoying as they are, it's like they're like Buzz Lightyear. And the Bills are Woody right now in Toy Story 1. Because the Bills are like, hey, like, don't you guys still love us? And the books still do. The betting books do. The Bills are like 3rd or 4th to win the Super Bowl pretty much in every book. But, I mean, if you watch TV, the Jets are just skyrocketing and people are falling on the Bills. Big time. Like, because of one game, and like I said earlier in the video, the Bills won like 7 or 8 consecutive games after being 6-3. I mean, they destroyed teams at times. Did the offense look different the second half of the year? You bet it did. I don't know whether that's Allen's injury. I didn't want to blame that a lot last year, but I have to believe it may have actually had an effect on him. You know, whether that's somebody figured something out with Ken Dorsey or, you know, there's a blueprint to like, oh, Ken Dorsey's doing all these shotgun plays and these plays are easy to see develop and we're going to have an easier time defending these, but Allen's he's still awesome, so they're still going to get their points, that type of thing. I don't know. I don't know what that's from, but to predict that the Bills are just going to, I believe it's Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, fall like a Jenga, like Jenga. Like you take one Tremaine Edmonds out or whatever, and then one Bengals game from last year, and the whole thing comes crumbling down. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I said earlier in the video that I needed to feel some optimism about the Bills, and I think what I really needed to happen was just for the games to start being played and the season to get here. Because the more I look at the situation, I don't really see how the Bills are worse than last year. I mean, they like I said, this is the third time I've said it. They lost one piece, and that's Tremaine Edmonds. They have one maybe glaring hole at middle linebacker. And what does that get you in terms of expected wins or win percentage or something? Maybe one. They can maybe expect to win one fewer game because Tremaine Edmonds is gone, but they may have upgraded elsewhere to the point where that makes up for that one win. You know, I don't have all this data in front of me to show you at the moment, but I'm ready. I mean, and that's not to say that the Bills are definitely going to beat the Jets week 1. I think I'm glad to have this game week 1, to be honest with you. I'd rather catch the Jets, you know, where they might be cautious with Breece Hall where they might not necessarily have that cohesion or, not a lot of practice time, a lot of game reps. The Jets could hit their stride after a few weeks into the season. They could be good right away. Garrett Wilson could be Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. Like that could happen right away. Saw some preseason, like in their one preseason game that they both played together. Like, holy moly, that touchdown pass was like exactly like Devontae Adams. So, I mean, I'm not here to take anything away from the Jets. Obviously, when you're the Bills and you're on top, and you've won the division 3 years in a row, everyone else is going to try to get better to catch you. The Dolphins have done it. They added Jalen Ramsey. Unfortunately, he was injured. But they've done it. They have Tua. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Jalen Waddle. They're taking quarterbacks high. They're trading for receivers. They're trading for defensive ends. Like, using first-round picks on these things. On Waddle. Basically what I mean, on Waddle, on Chubb, on Tua, on Tyreek. Those were all first-round picks, whether by trade or by selection. They're chasing you. And it's smart to not look in the rearview mirror and just look at what's ahead of you if you're the Bills. Don't worry about them getting better. That was us for almost 20 years, trying to get better, to catch New England. Couldn't do it. Why should I believe the Jets are going to? Why should I believe the Dolphins are going to? I don't even look at the Dolphins and think like, oh, but Tua gets hurt all the time. He might be one concussion away from retirement. I don't know, maybe. What if he doesn't get hurt? Then they're probably going to be pretty good. Do I concern myself with that? No, I don't. I'll concern myself with it when the Bills play the Dolphins, I suppose. Same thing with the Jets. Although, I mean, the difference is this is Jets week. So one of these teams could be us. Very well could be. One of these teams is going to lose this game and realize, oh, we're one game behind a team that's very good because they beat us. That could be the Jets looking at the Bills like, Bills are still really good. Now we're one game behind, one game in the division behind, tiebreaker behind. Roles could be reversed. I expect the game to be close on Monday night. I don't expect either team to roll over, get their doors blown off or anything like that. I'm eager to see this new Bills offense, this new Bills offensive line. Gabe Davis healthy, Josh Allen healthy, a little Dalton Kincaid, a little Deontay Hardy maybe. Like that's fun to me. But I'm kind of eager to see the Jets too. I'm not sure I'm as afraid of Aaron Rodgers as I would have been 5 years ago maybe. But I know he can still make the throws that a lot of quarterbacks cannot. Am I not afraid really of Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb or C.J. Uzama? No. Not even really Dalvin Cook so much. But maybe that's why I'm giving you this long diatribe about how the Bills shouldn't look in the rearview mirror. But I really think the Jets they might be the worst matchup for the Bills offense in the entire league. They have a stud defensive tackle in Quinnen Williams. They're beefing up that D-line. They used a first-round pick on Jermaine Johnson last year. They used one on Will McDonald this year. C.J. Mosley is a fantastic player. Sauce Gardner, of course. They added Adrian Amos in the secondary. Nice player. Okay, let's see it, Jets. I just need to see it. And the fact that people are like, oh, the Jets and the Dolphins. I mean, it's funny that nobody's even talking about New England at this point. Like the Jets and the Dolphins, like they're on the come up, and the Bills they're ripe. They're ripe to be picked off, to be unseated as the division champion. Let's see it. So it's time for me to pick this game. It's time for me to pick this game and get out of here. I'm gonna pick the score to be 27-24. And I really think it could go either way. I could see it coming down to who has the ball last with a field goal. 27-24. Let me say Bills, because I think if any Jets fans just watch this, or Dolphins fans or whomever, they would say that I'm trashing their team. I'm really not. I like what you've done. I get it. I understand why you went for the quarterback. Why, I get it. I get it, because we've been there. But anyway, guys, Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the games week 1. We'll see everyone on Monday night for Monday Night Football. As always, above all else, go Bills.